Welcome to another edition of Politics and Red. I'm Berto Willis, your host. Ali Velshi is an award-winning journalist.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual. You know, that's my regular refrain when I come into the show, but it's always true. Anyway, folks, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, Lee Grant from Montgomery County. Welcome aboard. Lisa Lizard Queen says, good afternoon. Lizard Queen, where are you from? Lizard Queen, I forget. I forget. Eric Hayes is in the house from from Atascocita, Kingwood. And Paul Fleming is in the house from Powder Springs, Georgia. And he realized that the mind needs to be prompted every so often. So he reminds me, Powder Springs, Georgia. We have also AVQ from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome aboard, my brother from Brooklyn. That's where my uncle lives as well. And Lizard Queen is in Houston. And of course, the venerable, la preciosa, la hermosa, Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. Let's see. Paul Fleming says, by withholding a ruling on Trump versus United States, the Supreme Court's far-right justices are effectively giving Trump the immunity he's seeking, making it all but impossible for him to face trial before the election for his efforts to overturn the election and his role on January 6th. I tell you, some people can get away with just about anything, and others, they just want to throw the book at. Donald Trump should have been in jail a long time ago. From ripping off his 501c3 to ripping off students going to a university that never existed, a fraud, to stiffen his employees, to his contractors who worked on his different ventures, stiffen them, asking them to take him to court because he knows he can hold off longer than they could. For somebody who lies like he does, my God, this guy should be in jail a long time ago. But you know what? I said, well, I'm going to say it in the piece that I'm playing, and I'll play the piece in a little bit, so I'm not going to repeat it right now. I'll wait till I play the piece. By the way, where are all my peeps on YouTube? Come on, guys. Where are my YouTube people? Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. We need that thumbs up as soon as you can do that for me. Give us that thumbs up. All right, let's see. Is the lady that ripped off her 501c3 in jail? Nope. She purchased millions in real estate and paid her friends. I don't know who you're talking about, but I know that Trump has done a hell of a lot of that on a consistent basis. Trump is a serial thug. A serial thug. And they have a lot of plans to do this in the election as well. So we got to beware. Well, just joining us, Melanie Keelan. Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. Wonderful to have you here, Melanie Keelan. Great to be here. Eric Hayes caught two thug punks caught for capital murder, killing a 12-year-old girl. Hopefully, oh, really? Is that the girl that they found in the creek? I am so glad. If that's the case, I'm so glad they found those criminals. That was a beautiful young lady. I couldn't imagine that happening to my daughter. Thank you for that information, Eric. Let's see what else we got here. Eric says, no, that's a different one. All right, moving on. Two subjects that I want to cover today. Don't know what's happening. Like I got a cold. I hope I don't have COVID, but we'll see. Let me get here real quick. Today's show is going to be about, there we go. The fight goes on to tax the rich. Fox News poll makes a huge turnaround for President Biden. The rich are corrupting our politics to squeeze even more out of us. But Senator Warren will have none of it as the fight continues. And of course, the Fox News poll is still in a different story right now. It's coming to fruition what I've said. Not a whole lot in polls in the absolute. But what you can take a look at is trending polls, where they're trending. So even if their polls are bad, they would trend in the direction a race is going, right? Even if the poll is bad, even if it have its numbers wrong, the trend is something that, generally speaking, you can follow. So that's important. Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York has just joined us. Welcome aboard, La Preciosa Bridge. Así que tenemos muchas preciosas. Kong Bridge, Lizard Queen, uh, Yvette Avery Herod, and Melanie Keelan. Las Preciosas del Tu sabe de qué. E2247 has joined us as well. E2247, I'm pretty sure he'll have those charts in a little bit. Michael Rodden says, Paul, are you saying the Ten Commandments should be in school in multiple translations? Nah. But if schools teach religion as mythology, I have no problem with that. Just remember that the only difference between a religion, a cult, and mythology is the number of active supporters. Let me just say something because I'm glad you brought up the Ten Commandments, right? You know, one of the commandments is, or I don't remember if it's a commandment or just a phrase in the Bible. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now you have a state that is forcing every public school to put out the Ten Commandments as declared by Moses via God, or by God via Moses, right? Now, suppose a Muslim, a Muslim takes over the governorship and says, "We want to have these passages out of the Quran placed in every school." The first comment is going to be, "But look at how that's going to affect the Christians. They don't, you know, that's against what they believe in." One of the separation of church and state didn't occur out of a vacuum. It occurred to maintain peace, sanity, and everything else in between. And by this state forcing all these different entities to put up the Ten Commandments, they are messing with it. SCOTUS has already ruled it's against the law to do that, but we have a new SCOTUS. And there's a good chance that because they don't believe in precedents, that this will get probably not overturned, but allowed to occur. It would not surprise me at all. All right, Eric Hayes says a panel of scientists fiercely debated Tuesday whether COVID-19 stemmed from a laboratory accident or naturally spread from animals to humans, with one expert declaring there was zero evidence of a natural origin of the pandemic that killed millions around the world. Rutgers University molecular biologist Dr. Richard Albright said in his opening statement before the Senate Homeland Security Committee that the large preponderance of evidence indicates SARS-CoV-2, the virus that caused COVID, entered humans through a research incident. Albright, who was joined in arguing for so-called lab leak theory, Dr. Stephen Quay, a former professor at Stanford University School of Medicine, added that no zero secure evidence points to COVID's natural origin. I think they better listen to what Dr. Fauci had to say about that. Michael Radnin says, as it comes to putting religious displays on public lands, the religious have to choose whether they want no religious display or all religions able to display. It's one or the other. We are a secular nation with a Christian majority, not a Christian theocracy. Exactly. Said very well. And anybody who wants Fauci in jail needs an education. Bruce Pollard is in the house from Kingwood, Texas. Good afternoon, Bruce. Great to have you here. All right, let's go ahead and go to our first video, and it has to do with the polls. Should we do it now or should we wait? Let's do it now. That's the only video that I have. Tom C is in the house. He said watching from YouTube without AC. Thanks, Houston, for a sweltering, humid weather. Wait, Tom. Is it that your home doesn't have AC, your AC is broken, or you saving electricity? Which one is it? I'm curious. Bridge MCP said no AC, it's 105 here. Now, Bridge, is that 105 the actual temperature or the feel-like temperature? You know, there are two different ones. The actual temperature and the feel-like temperature. They call the feel-like temperature, I forgot what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about. Heat index, that's right, the heat index. So the heat index is 105. What's the actual temperature though? I don't like when they give the heat index about feel like stuff. I like the actual number because the feel like is, I understand what they're doing. When there's no humidity, the feel like goes 99. Even that is still high. You're pretty damn close to 100. Paul Fleming says it's 94 in Georgia. All right. Let's go ahead and do our first video and then we'll move on thereafter. So here it goes right this minute. First, let me qualify. I don't think polls are all that reliable right now. In fact, I think the poll model that they have is pretty wrong. I think it's biased towards Trump. That said, when we look on one specific poll, we can see trends. And whether the absolute nature of the polls are correct or not, that's not the issue. The issue is the trends on that particular poll that has a particular data set that it follows. Well, guess what? Fox News has a polling system, and their poll, and you know, that poll is not there to do Biden any favors, have shown an 11-point swing in independents towards Biden. Not only that, that same poll has Biden beaten Trump. I think it's like 50 to 40 something. But the idea here is that it seems Biden is the first to really substantially stay and cross the 50-point margin or the 50-point margin in the race. So I want you to listen to this piece from MSNBC because I think they cover it a bit of this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
A big shift among independent voters could signal some new momentum for President Biden heading into that all-important first presidential debate, which is now just 1 week away. This new Fox News poll, take a look at this, shows Biden leading the former president by 9 points with independents. 52% to 43%. That is a massive swing from just a month ago when Trump was leading by 2 points. Keep in mind, Trump was convicted after the May poll, and this poll came after that. So it's not the only movement. For example, while Trump still holds a clear lead on the issues of immigration and the economy, Biden has cut those leads roughly in half. So lots to discuss here. Vaughn, we've been hearing for a while now from independents that if Trump were convicted, right, that may push them away. Are we seeing this come to fruition?
What Donald Trump needed was to get a certain number of independents back to his corner. Folks who voted for him in 2016 fled him in 2020. And the number of conversations I had in the months leading up to that 2020 election where folks were saying, we were a little bit scared that he was going to be a wild card. And we voted for him anyways. And then he ended up turning out to be that wild card figure. And so the question was, in the years under the Biden administration, a lot of these independents are more conservative leaning, moderate voters that want to vote for old school classic Republican, somebody that can, push through policies that our friend here once advocated for himself in Congress. And so this is where the question now is, are those same folks, that are like, maybe we should go back to that? Are they going to be reminded in what is only going to be an intense 4 months ahead here? The guilty conviction you see in that Fox News poll, that swing of independent voters. This is what the Biden camp wanted to see. And they were convinced that once folks re-engaged and actually saw Donald Trump for who he is, watched a trial play out over the course of 7 weeks, that you would then see the numbers. This is just one poll. There's going to be a lot coming out in the weeks ahead. But this is an early indication of exactly what the Biden camp wanted, that once independents get re-engaged and see Donald Trump for who he is and himself and what a jury finds him to have been guilty of, they will start to move. And that's what this shows.
Well, and he was complaining for a long time about being kept in the courtroom and not being able to be out on the campaign trail. But now he's been able to get out there since his conviction. People are seeing and hearing more of him. This 11-point swing is significant. I should note, Trump just posted on social media that this poll is trash. But if you're in the Trump campaign right now, Congressman, do you have to be worried?
You do, because this is the essence of Joe Biden's entire theory of the campaign, going back a year, that this is how it would play out, that as it got closer to the election, as Donald Trump faced criminal culpability and accountability, and as Joe Biden's work in the White House began to really take effect, that it would be a slow march to November where he would overtake Donald Trump. And if there's any indication here that should give Biden hope and worry Donald Trump, it's that. This is Biden's strategy all along. And I think what we're seeing is people are feeling better about the economy. We see those numbers. But they also have been reminded of late why they don't like Donald Trump. Outside of MAGA, people don't like Donald Trump. And so they're thinking, okay, I could be okay with Joe Biden, but I really don't want Donald Trump back.
Let's talk about the economy for a moment, because, Sam, when you look at this polling, 32% now say it is in good or excellent shape. It's not super high, but it is the highest of Biden's presidency. In addition, just 30% said they thought the economy was getting better back in May. In June, the question was a little different, asking whether voters were optimistic about the economy, and 44% said yes. What specifically is behind this shift, do you think?
Well, I think there's probably two things. One is the actual economy improving. You're seeing inflation steady at low end, obviously still too high for a lot of people, and especially in the housing market, but lower than it had been. And people are starting to feel better about their personal finances because of that. And I think the other thing is sort of atmospheric, which is as you get closer and closer to the election, further in the election season, people tend to rally back to their party. So Democrats had for a number of months been skittish or openly skeptical about Joe Biden, more willing than usual to express their disappointments with the presidency. But as the election nears, you get a bit of a rallying behind the flag type phenomenon that happens where Democrats start to see things more rosy and they start to rally behind their president. And so I think that's what's being picked up in the polls. And frankly, that's problematic for Trump a little bit because he's been clinging to this small lead. But that was premised on the idea that traditional Democratic constituencies would either stay home or even vote for him. If they do come back into the fold, that lead will evaporate and you could end up seeing Joe Biden inch ahead a little bit.
So yeah, a Fox News poll finally starts to see the reversal that I've been talking about. Now, again, I am not this poll that had Biden behind. Even that poll, I don't think was correct because I think, like I said, the voter model that they're using does not reflect reality. But that said, it's the same poll and the trend is going towards what we all expected it to be. Well, what people like me that doesn't follow the daily crap that you hear out there, but look at it from an analytical point of view and from an experiential point of view, where you can see the flavor of the nation. And I'm still sticking by what I said before. I don't believe this will be a close election if the Democrats do their jobs. And this is not going to be just relegated to the presidency or the Senate or the House. The Republicans have given Democrats a path to a landslide based on what they represent. It's not that people suddenly fall in love with Democrats. It's just that they find the Republican Party a clear and present danger to the country. And that is the whole issue. And I wish more people understood what I'm trying. Whenever I say there's going to be a landslide, people get concerned. Egberto, don't do that. People won't vote, etc. No. I am saying if we do our jobs, we need to make sure everybody goes out there and vote. But more importantly, we need to go out there and vote with resolve. We need to go out there and vote and show that we are not voting because of some accident or the best of both evils or anything like that. We are voting to make a difference. We are voting to say, Biden, when you get your butt in there, we are going to have your butt on fire. We're going to be coming and do what needs to be done. That's all we got to say, right? It's not about falling in line. It is about electing the folks who we're going to then tell what to do. Let's see. Elizabeth Davis here from Ireland. Elizabeth Davis. I think you are going to be the first person from Ireland that we have in the house. So are you Ireland or Northern Ireland? I think that looks like an Irish flag. So it's a real flag. Hear me, the real thing. Please, Bridge MCP, don't kill me. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. Okay. Anyhow, Tom C says there's no AC in his house. Again, if you live in Michigan, right up in the up on top, why would you need air conditioning, right? Why would you need air conditioning? All right, let's see. So I feel for you, brother, and I'm sorry that we are sending you all this bad stuff from the Gulf all the way out there to Michigan. I'm going to try to put up some sort of a atmospheric dam to save you, brother. I'm going to try to build an atmospheric dam. E2247 says today is World Refugee Day. Kindness, strangers fought to receive same kindness. All right. What else have we got here? Elizabeth Davis from Ireland. I'm just happy to say that I can brag on my KPFT show tomorrow. You know, in the KPFT show in the mornings, we go ahead and we say good morning to Houston, the Harris County, the state, Louisiana, and then we say to the world. And we always bring up the different parts of the world. We got folks from England, we got folks from Spain, we have folks from New Zealand, etc. But now you came a bit closer, Europe, but a little closer in that you are from Ireland. I'm going to tell them we brought in an Irish woman yesterday. Anyway, what part of Ireland are you from, Elizabeth? I'm curious. What part of Ireland are you from? All right. Mike Cisak says, I question Jamie Raskin and AOC since both are broiled in their own scandals of bribery and money laundering. That is what happens when you listen to right-wing sources. I don't think either AOC or Jamie Raskin are even thinking about any kind of financial problems that you guys may say they have. You know why they're not doing that? Because they're not Trump. They don't steal, they don't cheat, they don't do those things. That's in the domain of Trump, brother. All right, let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says Senate scholars torches McConnell catastrophic failure as leader under Trump. Yep, and look, McConnell is going to be directly responsible for the Republican collapse that's going to occur in November. I know there are not a lot of people talking about this. A lot of people are fearful, the end of democracy, all of that. I have faith in the American people. It's going to be the end of the MAGA Republican Party as we know it. And if the Republicans don't take back their party, then we will be a one-party country. And that would be the Democratic Party, because Americans are starting to wake up. And I've been saying this for a long time. Americans are starting to wake up. Today is World Refugee Day, according to E2247. Kind strangers fought to open doors for persons fleeing unthinkable circumstances. I believe others should receive same kindness. Now, in U.S. Today. Michael Radin says, the perception that Republicans are better on the economy is so ridiculous. When Republicans have power, they focus the economy to the benefit of the filthy rich. The perception, look, I've written about this so many times. And by the way, this is quantifiable. Okay? This is completely quantifiable. Economy does better under, let me put it here, Democrats. It's not up to question, and I mean, it's not, let me tell you better, okay? It's not by a little bit. A lot of people think, well, maybe it's in the margin of error, etc. No. The economy performs much better under Democrats, and that's a mathematical statement of fact. And it's more than 50%. Let me see if I can find the article that I wrote about that. Let me go to my site, because I've written several articles about the economy doing better under Republicans. Let's see, economy, Republicans, Democrats. Let's see if I can find that article so that everybody can read it and share it, actually, because that is what we do here. All right, let's go ahead and do this. I tell you what I'm going to do for you. The economy does much better under. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna make your day for bringing that great subject up. I'm going to make your day. It wasn't supposed to be covered today, but here it is, and I'm going to do that. Let's see what we come up with here. Anyway, folks, I just gotta, let's see what this is all about. Make sure it's not something that I get to run on right now. Okay, that can hold. All right, let's go to the video. This wasn't supposed to be played today, but I think I can get it played if I go ahead and go to this piece here, because I want, I want to make folks understand that it is imperative that you know this stuff. There we go. All right, that didn't go well, did it? Haha, that one didn't go well, and I'm not sure why that didn't go well, but I'm going to try to recue it again. Let's see if it'll do it this way.
Two professors from Princeton, Professor Alan S. Binder, Princeton economics professor, as well as Professor Mark Watson. They came out with the definitive report. They looked at, I think, 12 different presidents, 6 Democrats and 6.
Let's get a bigger one. Let's see. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
Each, I don't remember exactly how many. And they did it sequentially, right? And it turns out that the economy does substantially better, out of the margin of error, better under Democratic presidents than it does under Republican presidents. Now, they looked at all kinds of factors, and when it comes to under Republicans, we had certain things like certain types of shocks, so they had to discount for those. So they're saying Republicans just got unlucky with some of these shocks, right? And that's understood. But they said that only explained about between 42 and 60% of the delta, the 2 points or so better that the economy does under Democrats. So it only accounts for a few. The professors, after they've found that the luck part could only be attributed between 40 and 60%. And by the way, I don't even call that luck, because the rest of the world knows who's president of the United States. They know how to act based on who's president of the United States. They know how to spend based on who's president of the United States. And if they think things will go better, of course, an economy which has some psychological factors in there as well would do better. And that's the reason the economy does better under Democrats than Republicans, not only because of policy, but because of expectations and all of that. The professors proved that. You know, their study, their analysis is great. It came out with the correct results. The problem is, when it came for them to write a conclusion, they decided to edge. They didn't want it to seem partisan, so they said, well, we can't explain exactly why it is that Democrats do 2 percentage points. That's huge. 2 percentage points in the aggregate over Republicans when they are in charge. I want you to listen to the interview between one of the professors and Chuck Todd way back yonder. And then this is a part of a blog post that I wrote with some excerpts from the actual analysis that they've made. It's clear to me the reasons why. I am sure these very intelligent economists from Princeton, they also know the answer, but they also know that they want to ensure they don't seem too partisan. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
According to a new analysis paper by economists Alan Blinder and Mark Watson, it's not policy or politics. More often than not, they say it's simply dumb luck. And most of the time, it ends up favoring the Democrats. The paper examines how the U.S. economy fared under 12 presidents, all the way back to Harry Truman. What they found was that generally Democratic presidents were in charge when the economy was doing the best. You can see Truman, Kennedy, Johnson, and Clinton stand out on the chart. Interesting to note, Carter's numbers are probably better than you realize because GDP growth was good at the time. His problem, of course, was inflation. Now, Reagan's numbers are probably worse than you remembered. Don't forget the start of his presidency was clouded by a severe recession. Now, overall, the economy grew at a rate of more than 4% under Democrats and 2.5% under Republicans. It's a pretty dramatic difference. But why? Well, Blinder and Watson looked at a number of possible factors, and they came up with three big ones. Number one, oil shocks. The spike in prices in the early 70s hurt Nixon and Ford, and a threefold increase in prices did huge economic damage under George W. Bush. The second big factor, productivity. Surges in productivity helped Kennedy and Johnson, while a drop in productivity hurt Reagan. But the paper concludes, quote, these look a lot more like good luck than good policy. Now, the third big factor is simply consumer confidence. But the paper argues that may be a self-fulfilling prophecy. In other words, quote, consumers correctly expect the economy to do better under Democrats and then make that happen by purchasing more durable goods. So in fact, Blinder and Watson describe all three as luck factors that seem to happen randomly. So what about the policy? What about defense spending? What about Congress? The paper finds they may play small roles, but that they are more or less insignificant when it comes to determining why Republican presidents seem to get the fuzzy end of the economic lollipop. But the researchers admit the three luck factors can only explain about 60% of the gap. They say the rest remains, for now, a mystery of the still mostly unexplored continent. As somebody who studies these things, and your belief in statistician, when do you think this trend is a fact, is a provable fact? Because sometimes you look back, and I always say that even we've had 57 presidential elections, and you know what? That's actually not enough examples to say this is always the way it happens, this way or that way.
Now, always is too strong, but think of it as coin flipping. At some point, if you're flipping a coin enough times, you may discover it's an unfair coin. It's not actually coming up 50-50. So the question is, how many flips do you actually need before you can reach a conclusion like that, a probabilistic conclusion? And we could. I mean, there are standard statistical tests for that. And the likelihood that this large gap, you showed it on the first graph in the setup piece, was happening purely by chance, like coin flipping on a fair coin that just didn't come up 50-50, was under 1%. So all right, that's good enough that was good enough for us.
Good enough to put it in the for Princeton. All right, sir. Alan Blinder, thank you. Very interesting report, and I bet you there will be more research built upon it. Thank you very much.
If you were born before 1971, you must see this. The digital dollar is here.
Now, again, I listened to the professor, and it's a bit upsetting because he says if it were just a coin flip and it's only 1% that says the results that they got, that the economy does better under the Republican president, under Democratic presidents, it somehow can be attributed to luck when it's something that happens all of the times, which would be saying that luck is always on the side of Democrats. The professor is smarter than that, but you understand that he's watching his right flank. After all, he doesn't want to get on the negative side of one political party when one has to say the economy always does better under Democrats. And yes, it's policies. A policy that favors the average American citizen, even in the current capitalist economic structure, because of the speed of circulation of money and who you are biased for, the American people, that will give you a more vibrant economy. That is how economics work. These professors know that. And their conclusion said that. Or rather, the results of the research said that. Now, when it came to expressing the conclusion, they did say it's not chance. Yes, the economy does better under Democrats. But maybe it's luck plus something else we don't know. Of course it does better. And it does better because of policy, middle class centric policies, better on one side than the other. Not as good as it should be, but better.
And that is what we must understand, folks. That is what we must understand. There is a reason why the economy does better under Democrats, because Democrats takes care policies that are mass centric. And let me just express this that I didn't put in that part here. If I give $100 to to let's say 1,000 people, that's $100,000. But I give 100,000 instead of giving that $100 a piece to 10,000 people, I gave that $100. That's $1 million. I gave that $1 million to a wealthy person or two wealthy people or whatever. Those people are wealthy. They don't have an extended marginal propensity to consume. They don't have to spend more than they were spending before because they have all that they need. However, if I give that $100 to a whole lot of other people, they're going to say, oh my God, I got an extra $100. I can take my kids out this weekend for a day on me. We can go to the bakery. We can go to the movies. We can go get some popcorn. We can do all these things. And the movie theater has to buy more film, and the popcorn place has to buy more popcorn. As he buys more popcorn, he has to get the grocery store or the supplier has to get more corn from the farmer. As the farmer gets more corn, the farmer has to go to John Deere and buy another tractor. You put the money into the hands of the people and you get economic circulation. You put the money into the hands of the wealthy, they may decide, maybe I'll build a factory, but is it a factory that people really want? I don't know. Supply side economics, I'll build it. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. People, look, this is not difficult. And those people in power know it. What I'm telling you now, the people in power know it. But it's just that they don't care. They just want it all. And when we, the American people, are able to assert our worth, when we, the American people, are able to say, no, you're going to listen to us because it's still one person, one vote. We want to get money out of elections just because having money allows you to buy votes in very interesting ways. Yeah, I have. Do I have a link to that video? Okay, sure, absolutely. Let me go ahead and give Bridge MCP the link to the video first of all. Here is a video link, Bridge, and here is a blog post that I wrote, Bridge. I am giving you everything here. There you go. All right. Egberto describing the velocity of money according exactly right. Those with little money will spend their money on necessities, and that money will be circulated multiple times around the local economy. If you give it to the filthy rich, they have more money than they know what to do with. That money gets stashed away in a bank into Wall Street. The disparity is one of the reasons why Wall Street is going up while the majority of Americans are still living paycheck to paycheck. You nailed it. Peggy Lopez, well, hey, Peggy, how you doing, beautiful? Peggy says the delusion of the GOP is that people are not necessary for the rich to become more enriched. And that is where, when I tell you that the rich aren't all that smart, you just gave the reason why we understand the rich aren't that smart. Because if they would just give back, they would stay rich, but they will create sustainability of an economy that's vibrant. But they're not very smart. They're smart in capitalism, but remember, capitalism has no heart. Capitalism says take as much as you can get. Capitalism is the ultimate, the default of capitalism is monopoly. Because if capitalism says whatever the market will bear, and your only loyalty is to the shareholder and the executive, then that ultimately breaks down into what? Monopoly. Why? Because you do whatever it is necessary to continue growing for your shareholder. And that eventually means buying up your competition if you can afford to do so. These are simple tenets that they don't want you to know. And the reason they don't want you to know that, they want you dumb. Why do you think that they want to burn books that enlighten you? Why do you think they want to take down TikTok? Because TikTok has bad stuff on it, granted, but so does Facebook, so does Instagram. But TikTok has a whole lot of professors, a whole lot of engineers, a whole lot of people that are teaching things that our school system sadly doesn't teach. All right? Now, let me show you something here. Listen to Mike Cisak. Let's show you what an enslaved mind sounds like. Listen to what Mike Cisak says. Socialism and communism is the heart of greed and jealousy. Okay. Now, socialism and communism is at the heart of greed and jealousy. Please take me from wanting us all, in the case of socialism, wanting to have a social aspect and a free enterprise aspect. Tell me how that breaks down into greed. When by definition, anybody who watched the movie Wall Street, remember Gordon Gekko saying one thing: greed is good, and that capitalism works on greed. Okay? Greed is necessary for capitalism. And those that are the most greedy are the ones who make up the capitalist economic system. But somehow, projecting, Mike Cisak would like to say that that isn't the case. Well, lucky for us, Elizabeth Warren and other senators are doing better than that. In fact, there's a piece out at Common Dreams that I want to go over real quickly. And the Common Dreams article says, fight goes on to tax the rich, says Warren after Supreme Court ruling. Senator Elizabeth Warren was among the economic justice advocates cheering Thursdays after the U.S. Supreme Court upheld a tax on Americans with shares of certain foreign corporations, a win for the Massachusetts Democrat and other wealth tax advocates. Right-wing billionaires hope an obscure legal case would blow up the tax code to avoid paying what they owe. But this effort failed at the Supreme Court, Warren said in response to the 7-2 ruling in Moore versus United States. This fight goes on to tax the rich, pass a wealth tax on ultra multimillionaires and billionaires, and make the system more fair. Although the narrow decision doesn't explicitly affirm the constitutional federal wealth tax proposed from congressional progressives, including Warren, court watchers had feared a ruling in favor of Charles and Kathleen Moore, a Washington couple who challenged a mandatory repatriation tax in Republicans' 2017 tax law, would disrupt efforts to impose such policies. The High Court heard the case in December. Conservative Justice Brett Kavanaugh on Thursday delivered the majority opinion that the MRT does not exceed Congress' constitutional authority. He was joined by Chief Justice John Roberts and 3 liberals. Justice Amy Coney Barrett concurred in the judgment, joined by Justice Samuel Alito, who had faced calls to sit this case out. I guess the only reason he voted for it is you know why. He didn't want to come across as who he really is. Of course, conservative Justice Clarence Thomas, who was provoked pressure to recuse himself from multiple cases or even leave the court by accepting and not reporting gifts from the ultra-rich Republicans, dissented, joined by Justice Neil Gorsuch. Thomas argued the Moores are correct that a tax on unrealized investment gains is not a tax on income within the meaning of the 16th Amendment and is therefore cannot be imposed without apportionment among the several states. That makes no sense because under that scenario, they couldn't tax you. A state should not be able to tax you. I know the difference between federal and state law, but a state should not be able to tax you for your home because your home price is an unrealized gain. An unrealized gain. Folks, when I tell you these people depend on people being stupid, that's exactly what I mean. And what we want to do here at Politics Done Right is to make sure that you are informed, not by the right wing that makes sure you're dumb, but by the collective that can really make sure everything goes right. All right? Make sure everything goes right. Let's see. What else I've got here? Let's see. They're all corrupt. That is from Lucid Dreamer 1975. Lucid Dreamer, you've been posting a lot of things. Let me see if y'all don't find it odd that Trump and Biden hearings only have senators there where the Supreme Court justices. They don't show. All right. They took the books away and gave the kids tablets, and COVID hit, and the parents were home all the time. I guess I got to read some more of what you're saying, but I can't get to that right now. But Mike Cisak says socialism says you have to take from all producers and give to all those in need. That's not what socialism says at all. That is what the right wing tells you socialism says. This takes away incentive to produce and makes those in need greedy and entitled. It's why socialism always fails economically. I don't think they'll tell you that in Denmark. I don't think they'll tell you that in Norway. I don't think they'll tell you that in Sweden. Works quite well there. But you see, again, what you defined as socialism is what we have allowed. You're trying to bring Cuba and Venezuela and all those guys in. That is how easy it is to mess with people's minds. That is not at all what progressives are looking for. Michael Rudness says, Egberto, I think Lucid Dream doesn't understand that we lost over 1 million Americans during the pandemic and is looking backwards with a skewed viewpoint. Let's see what else we got. Lucid Dream says, good luck, America. All right. Anyway, folks, we are at 3:52. I don't have any more videos, but I have the link to that particular piece. I got to take off a bit early today, but I want to tell all you guys I love that you all came here. Vibrant discussion in the chat. I'm still waiting for a limerick from our brother, our poet laureate. I don't see one today. I know he's in the house. So while I hope he has written one, if he doesn't have one, I just still have a few seconds here to ask you, because we're going to close down a little bit early. I want to go ahead and ask you guys to support the program. And how can you do that? You can support the program by, first of all the different forms in which to support the program can be found at politicsdoneright.com/support. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/support. One of the places we need your support is in our Patreon. You can go to politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. Patreon, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Check it out. But what we really ask folks to do, well, before that, consider getting our books. Our books is what you see scrolling on the screen right now. It's worth it. Well, the subsequent book is, let me go ahead and, Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man, Racism Didn't Stop My Smile, Hope, or Journey Forward. As I see it, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. Consider that book. You'll learn a lot about the economy, how to make America utopia, take away the economy from those who rigged it, as well as It's Worth It, how to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. And how can you get those books? You can get any one of my books in one of many ways. You can go buy the book, either the audiobook or the Kindle or the hard copy at politicsdoneright.com/books, politicsdoneright.com/books. Now, if you become a paid subscriber of our newsletter, guess what? You can read all our books on our Substack free of charge, and any subsequent book that I put out as well, free of charge. So to end the program today, it will be on a limerick by the one and only poet laureate for Politics Done Right. That is Tom Sarnik. And here it goes. Say, Trump, about you I don't really care. Just give me your vote let me start over. I screwed that up. Say, Trump, says Trump, About you, I don't really care. Just give me your vote or don't if you dare. Much as a snake in the poem he often reads, Trump will turn on you, no matter what you do. When he gets what he needs, you think he's your friend, but he'll bite you in the end. So, for heaven's sake, be warned and beware. Don't be mistaken and taken in by his grin. He's venomous red-striped snake with orange skin and very bad blonde hair. I love that. I love that, my dear and only our poet laureate, El Señor Tom Sarnik. Thank you for that, brother. You know, that makes my Thursday. Makes my Thursday. All right. All right, folks, we got to get out of here. So I want to thank all of you from here. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Become a paid subscriber. And then you get to read all of our books at our Substack. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Anyway, folks, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.